Students from across the UK are being asked what politics and politicians need to do to engage them in the electoral process. As part of the Digital Democracy Commission, UEA is taking part in a consultation with students from across East Anglia, asking what digital democracy means to them. But what does it mean? Let's go in and find out.
It's a shame that the bold move to introduce a citizenship curriculum into British schools has not necessarily been followed up on with as much intensity and passion as it could have had, enabling people to know the political system, how it works, how to live within it, how to use it, how to change it. Those are absolutely essential skills for any citizen in any free society. There's a lot of talk about how everything's changed because of the internet, and that's not true. Some things have changed, some things might change, but not everything. And some of the old political values and old political skills are still important. And in the case of communication, that is thinking about how to listen to people, how to explain yourself to people, how to justify your political views to people. And that's a political skill that goes back thousands of years and will continue in thousands of years. I wouldn't necessarily urge young people to wait around for the government to do something for them. I would urge them to take action upon themselves and then tell government what it is that they want or what they need. I think it provides a particular opportunity for young people who are totally experienced and at home in that kind of technology and at home with how to use it to do not just old things but new things. Old things in new ways and new things we hadn't thought of.
Internet voting and perhaps even mobile phone voting holds great potential for engaging more of the electorate. Turnout elections is often very low, and often this isn't because people aren't interested in politics, it's just that they're perhaps short on time, or the way in which they're asked to vote doesn't quite, isn't very 21st century. And so internet voting, electronic voting may allow us to reach out to young people and make them more engaged in the democratic process. There are concerns about risks, and there certainly are risks that we need to think about. The risk of systems being hacked, computer systems being hacked. Also, with electronic voting, there's always the risk that the secrecy of the ballot is compromised, so people can look over someone's shoulder to see who they're voting for. Perhaps in the worst case scenario, someone might vote on someone else's behalf. The only way we can really work out whether those risks are real or imagined is the pilot electronic voting system. So we could have a large-scale internet voting pilot in the United Kingdom, for example, and that would really kind of put these systems to the test. If we don't have people participating, there's every chance that the politicians that are standing for office won't take into consideration their views. So hopefully going forward, we would reform Parliament, reform the electoral process so that more and more people do vote.
Young people are going to be around in this world for longer in most cases than older people. What the future is like really matters to them, and that makes it terribly important that young people participate to the maximum extent in politics if they want politics to deliver for them. So I think that there would be reforms which could make it easier for everyone, including perhaps especially young people, to vote, such as bringing in electronic voting. But really that's a minor part of the thing. There is no techno fix for this problem. The real problem is one of a lack of conviction, a lack of belief in the system that we have. People thinking that we don't really have a proper democracy, people thinking that their vote doesn't make much difference, people thinking that nobody's listening to them. And you know what? To quite a large extent they're right. The Conservatives and to some extent also UKIP and Labour are parties that welcome people not participating when those people are people who are going to rock the boat and try to create a new agenda. They welcome the votes of older people that they can trust and rely on, that they think they have a tribal loyalty from. Young people need to vote in greater numbers if their voice is going to be recognised.
it's beyond just the kind of standard Westminster model of politics. It allows young people to mobilise. So if they are interested in particular issues, whether that be environmental issues, whether that be human rights, whether that be corporate tax avoidance, they can search for people with similar interests, they can communicate, they can build quite important networks, and that complements some of the real world activities that these groups are involved in. The current model is obviously not working because so many, well, not just young people, but people as a whole are disengaged, and I think it's still based around a very kind of top-down model where experts, specialists talk to people and tell them about the issues of the day. And what we need using these technologies is to get people more involved so that they start to take part in these debates, they start to create their own ideas, their own content, they start to feel that they have a voice. But again, you need to ally that to wider political change. You know, the political system in this country is, in my opinion, flawed because people don't feel that their vote counts. So the combination of wider systemic change along with the use of these technologies is I think fundamental.
Having heard what the experts think, the students got into groups to discuss their own ideas of how to engage young people in politics.
We've designed an app to help young people participate, which we believe is the big issue. It's also a website, and we believe it's based on issue-based politics, and not just politics, on media, film, music, and it allows people to sort of vote on petitions, whether they agree with this issue, whether they don't like that issue, and we believe that young people do care, they just don't like the politics brand on things. So being able to discuss it without politicians, we believe would be really good for young people.
Education would be the key to involving younger people in politics. So to inform them, like between 15 and 16, we're supposed to know about this stuff, and in a couple of years they expect us to vote on something that we don't fully understand.
Idea basically is an app with a website onto it, basically like a constituency forum. So every constituency would have this open debate amongst themselves on different issues like health, education, the immigration, road transport, anything like that they want to talk about. They can have open debate with their MP, their other candidates for different parties. Everyone will have like a profile kind of thing, and yeah, it's just constant debate, maybe polls going along with MPs creating polls, and they can take that evidence to Parliament, use it in their debates. It's just kind of a way of increasing accountability and in giving the people a platform for their voice.
Today we did an event at the UEA about enthusing young people to think about digital democracy. We as the UEA find it very important to actually get young people together, talk about the issues, also give them knowledge, because a lot of the time people are being asked for their thoughts, but they actually don't really understand the topic. The UEA is very good, I think, with engaging young people with politics. Last year with the EU elections, we did a very big campaign on EU elections. Why should we bother? We had a question time event. I personally took young people to Strasbourg when the European Parliament opened their doors for young people to give their ideas on a better Europe. We've got a very active discussion forum.
We hold regular PSI discussion forums in the school. Obviously the discussion forum was aimed at politically interested people. We had a wide range of subject students, biomedicine, philosophy, literature, history. They were all interested even though they don't study politics. The general consensus was that the digital democracy could be useful, but it has a certain place. A lot of calls for education rather than just digitalising it. The feeling of alienation amongst youth, which is they felt widespread, wouldn't be solved by making the voting process easier or access to manifestos or anything easier.
The Speakers Commission on Digital Democracy are publishing their report in January 2015. But young people are already using digital technology more than ever to get their voices and opinions heard.